What is happening? AJ Game Dude here. And if I were to ask you, if one of the best games that you've ever played is now being delisted from all digital platforms, what would you think? Because for me, it would be that it's A, incredibly sad, B, just a removal of a piece of history. Granted, we do have physical copies this time around, but effectively, one of my favorite games of all time, and easily my favorite shooter of all time, Spec Ops The Line, is being delisted from all digital storefronts, and that's because of licensing issues. Now, the game had come out back in 2012, and it did something very unique with its narrative, so I'm pretty much going to spoil the game in a way that only really old people are going to understand. The story is pretty much a mixture of Apocalypse Now with Heart of Darkness, and that effectively will ruin the ending for anyone who knows what these two movies are or have seen the movies and understand its story. It's a great game, and not for its gunplay or for its squad-based mechanics, but more so for its story. The story is what holds this game up high above every other shooter that I've ever played in my entire life. People say, oh, what about Titanfall 2? Titanfall 2 had a great story. This Titanfall 2 has nothing on Spec Ops The Line. Spec Ops The Line does some very good stuff with its story and has yet to be, like, no shooter that I've played has come close to how good, well told, and executed the story was in Spec Ops The Line. You play as Captain Walker, and you have your two partner AI that join you on this journey in Dubai to look for your mentor, who has, taught you a lot when you first joined the armed forces, and it kind of then punishes you, if you have any emotions, of course, for liking war shooters, because it is by its own merit a third-person war shooter, or a war, like a sort of a World War II shooter, but except it doesn't take place in World War II. Instead, it's got its own location and time frame that it's kind of working with, and ultimately it's really the last three chapters, so from chapter 12 if not 13 onwards till the end of the game, you'll kind of come to understand what the game has been going for the whole time. And again, I cannot recommend enough that people kind of sit down and play this game. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be very difficult to purchase now moving forward, given that it's no longer available on Steam. Apparently, it's going to be removed from PlayStation and Xbox as well, because it is a PS3 360 game as well. And plus, the 360 store is going to be shutting down as well as it is. But if you've already bought the game, you can still play it. So I do not want to spoil this game, even though it did come out, 12 to 13 years ago, somewhere between there. Actually, no, 11 to 12 years ago, never mind. I do highly recommend this game. I cannot speak highly enough of it. If people ask me what my favorite game was, and I didn't say a JRPG, my next answer in the list, for an unconventional answer, would be Spec Ops The Line. I, again, cannot stress enough just how good this game is. Yes, it does have multiplayer, but nobody cares about the multiplayer. Yes, it's got pretty, average shooting mechanics. That's really not important. It's the story, and the game presents you with choices, but it's not like a dialogue box comes up saying if you want to choose option A or option B. It's what you as a player do that will actually, like, say, for example, when you need to save some people or save one person. So the some people are gonna die if you save the one person, but the one person is your objective, the person you have to save. But you can save just some random people, but then the one person you're supposed to save, who is your objective, is going to die. So do you save the one person, or do you save the many people, or do you just jump in and start gunning everyone down and everyone dies? Both options are just neither the way to go. it's that sort of thing. That's kind of actually the first choice in the game, really, and I think that's like, what, chapter 6, chapter 7? It's later on in the game, so it feels incredibly linear at the beginning, but then those choices start to pop up, because there are actually achievements and trophies related to those choices, and you needed to kind of go down both avenues, just to kind of, see like the absolute mayhem and pandemonium that kind of comes from the choices, and ultimately what chapter 13 onwards does to not just you, but the loading screen. What the loading screen looks at you as a player. Again, I'm not going to say anymore. If nothing else, the loading screens in this game from chapter 13 onwards are bloody incredible. I cannot stress that enough. It is great. God, I just want to keep talking about this game. I want to keep gushing about it. I want to talk about the story, the spoilers, and everything else in between. But I'm going to keep it civil. If you haven't played this game, please play it if you own it. If you don't own it, seek out a physical copy, especially if you've still got your PS3 up. I don't know if this is playable on Xbox One if you bought the game digitally on 360, or Xbox Series of consoles as well. But those were my thoughts on the delisting of Spec Ops: The Line. It's incredibly sad that one of my favorite games of all time is being removed from history as we speak, and it's just straight up unfortunate. I really do feel sad that a really good game is being taken away from us. That's just kind of how it is. And again, this leads into the all digital future that I'm just saying, like, is just not a good idea, and why I've been buying more physical games. Hell, Yakuza Infinite Wealth. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I bought that physical. I'm gonna go out and get Persona 3 Reload physical, the PS4 version, of course, for both games, because when I put the PS4 disc in, I can redeem the digital PS5 version, but I do still need to use the disc. That's not a problem. Again, as long as I have the disc, I have those versions of the game, so I don't really have much to worry about. But with all of that said, please do comment below your thoughts on everything that I've talked about in this video, and if you play Spec Ops: The Line, what did you think about it, while trying to keep it as spoiler free as possible? Like the video if you liked it, and of course, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 200 subs by the end of the year, and I do want my videos to go out to more people. Very much does help. And with all that said and done, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.